And we're recording. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the daily engagements. Okay, and let's take a look at this. I found one of my ticks is I say "k" and "right" all the time as I listen back on recordings. So "k" and "right." Anyway, okay, let's take a look at number 16. All right, so last week it was all about ProtoPie. This week is going to be deep dive, not deep dive. We're going to get our head right in and start using our design systems. The best way to make a design system is to use it, right? What you don't want to do, right? Pro tip is make your entire design system and not use it, right? Like, oh, this thing is perfect, and then use it too late. You want to really kick the tires as soon as possible, and that's one of our goals. If now, if the goal isn't this week is to create a completed design system, because the whole point of it is it's a what designers don't like to hear. It's a living document. It's not fixed. It is not. It is a lot of tests and a lot of assumptions and a lot of guesses. And I can't stress that enough. There's a lot of guesswork, right? Because we haven't had a teacher or a staff admin actually use this thing and say, this made my life better. Or typically what you're going to get is, this was working. I just finally learned how to use this. Why are you making these changes? Right. And that's what's missing from all this. Again, here's a quick 20-minute presentation. Strongly recommended. Like, watch it, get an idea of what a design system is. A hard part for me in this class was figuring out what was going to be our reference for design systems. There's so much stuff out there on this, so much. But here is the Envision Design System Handbook that we've used for in the past. I like this one. So this is kind of going to be a textbook. Like, it's 222 pages just for a design system. Like, we're not going to cover all 200 pages in this, but it's a good place to get started. So there's that. Okay. So between the textbook and lecture, we should be good to go. Make sure you understand why we're doing this. Also understand the difference between when you say pattern library and versus style guide. Okay? A lot of the time we're just splitting hairs, but you want to use the same consistent language. And then again, right, see the connection between the code, the designer, and the users. Okay, we haven't even gotten to the users yet. Right. Well, sorry, we started out with the users. I take that back. Right. We met with the client. We spoke to the client. We understand who the audience is. Okay. So right, without the design, you have nothing to code. Right. Without understanding the code and the medium, right, the design's kind of useless. Right. It's just a static image. All right. So there's that. And let's go ahead and let's take a look at 17. Okay. So we started this. We started collecting on Notion. Okay. All I want is a link to your Notion card, your Notion page with all this stuff here. Okay. Notion is for collecting. Okay. And so in last class, we went through this task of auditing. All right. This is one of my favorite things to do, is to audit stuff. I'm going to actually put that in bold. You can even put it in all caps if you want. You're constantly evaluating and asking, like, yeah, this thing is here, but why is it here? And we went through it, and I'm not going to rehash last lecture. I would recommend going back and taking a look at last class. Like, we took a screenshot and then we stared at it. We had a discussion, and that's an audit, right? Just like auditing your taxes or auditing your income, right? Accountant's going to go, so why did you spend $300 on coffee? Why did you, right? It's that questioning of understanding. All right, so where did the money go? Yeah, and I've always likened it to cleaning your basement or cleaning your room. Right? If stuff doesn't leave, all you did was reshuffle, right? So if I asked you to clean your spaces, right, to clean your apartment, to clean your home, to clean your room, if everything in your right, if everything, and this is, I live with a hoarder, self-professed hoarder, so this is kind of difficult for me. But the hard part is, I'm like, look, if nothing leaves the house, we didn't do anything different. We just reorganized the same crap that we had before, right? And so someone would say, well, I might use that later. I might use that later. Then that's not really an audit. Like, things have to leave. Things have to be deleted. Okay, like, we really need to say, like, if we only had, if I asked you just to keep the most important stuff in your house, your answer can't be everything, right? And what do I mean by that? Well, a lot of managers and a lot of customers are just going to say, well, we might need that later. We might need that later. And then we're defeating and auditing. Like it's hard. It's hard to say, no, this feature has to go, right? And how this relates to number 617 here is, number 15 here, is a lot of your job as a designer is going to say, you know, what features, right, should be worked on. And the development team is going to go, well, why are we making a calendar feature if that's not needed? And what you can't say as a designer is like, well, we might need that in the future. And the developers are going to go, we have, what is really, really important? It's like building a room that you might use, right? And this is the hard part of the job, designers, right? So we got it, thumbs up. All right, that's it. Let's go ahead and get into card 718. And let's get into our Figma example right here. All right, so what you're gonna do is right? You're gonna create a card now on Figma, right? So we collect on Notion, collect. And Figma is actually where we actually begin to start designing. We start applying all of this. All right, so I made a sample Figma project here. It's blank. Let's see here. Let's see how Notion Figma works. Is everybody in the Figma card? All right, so what we're gonna do is we have our inventory. We're gonna go in and quickly, very, very quickly, just take a inventory. Like in the next 15, 20 minutes, we should be able to figure out some things. And this is where your dev tools come in really, really handy. All right. So while I log into Silverback, okay. All right, go ahead. Talk to me. Where are we at with this question so far? Our Silverback login. Did I post it? I did post it publicly. Back. A good way to check this, we'll see who actually logged in this weekend, or not this weekend, since last class. Login and passwords attached. Not me, apparently. Let's go. Log me out. Well, what was it? Can I just pause this? Okay, all right. Was everybody able to, don't forget the period in the login. See how it didn't let me in that time? Here, I'm gonna paste it into there. It's City of Trees. Now I'm gonna have to cut this part out of the recording. I clicked remind me. All right, we're into this. Let's go ahead and pin this tab. All right, so if you're getting into here and say, I'm just going to copy and paste out of this, no. Like this is just for us to work through in class together, okay? Like what I want you to do is make your own. We're gonna get started. All right, let's take care of the easy stuff. All right, let's get aboard. First off, we're gonna take care of our, our median, media, I guess in this case. All right, what size do they want us to work with? Here, I'll collapse it. Are we making a watch app, y'all?
No.
All right, yeah, so, all right, so Daniel, what size?
A desktop?
Yeah, you wouldn't believe how many times we'd mess up this part. Yeah. Like, or we'll choose desktop and we really need to make a mobile app. Yeah, so, all right, there's a very big desktop app there. Good, let's call this thing our home for right now, because we don't know what it is yet, right? We don't know what it is yet. You can even put question marks there. That's where I always like to start. All right, so I always start easy. I just start color picking this thing, right? All right, let's see here. You're all gonna help me with Figma, right? Again, you know Figma better than I do. One of the things I was told we worked through with Meg was get them ready to use Figma better than they should be able to use Figma way better than I can. And she's like, well, that's not going to be hard. I think it's true because it's not my tool of choice. Okay, like a design, the tool is a tool. All right, let's go ahead and work with a color palette. All right, let's see here. How do I make squares again? Oh, too many tools in my head. Did I do that right? Look at me go. Look at me use Figma. Oh, good, this is being recorded. Hey Meg, look at me use Figma. And Tyrell too. Tyrell, look at me. All right, let's see here. We're done with Notion. We're done with this. We're gonna pin this tab as I talk to myself. Okay, where were we? We were in the view plan, correct? Plans and interventions. Student information. Good. I'm gonna pick Aaron. All right, this is where we're here. All right. Then you have your dev tools, beloved dev tools, and we're just gonna color pick this thing. All right, what color am I picking? What's primary? This one is staring you in the face.
Green.
Nope. Secondary.
Blue. The blue.
Nope. Maybe secondary. Sometimes tertiary. This one's staring.
The gray.
Y'all being designers.
The white.
There you go. Right. It's staring at you. That's the primary color in this case, and we always forget that sometimes. All right. Let's see here. So that's white. Let's see. I guess I put a stroke on this thing so we can see this thing. All right. Next color. All right. Now get our secondary color. All right. Designers, argue about it. What do you think the secondary color is? In terms of usage, not in terms of scale. We're not looking at what color do we see the most, right? How is it used to show secondary or primary information? So white is yes, right? The whole canvas is white. So there's our dominant color here.
I think that blue is secondary.
Right, because it's calling attention to that. All right, so I'm going to push back, Ben. Okay. What about the gray?
Black.
I mean, the green
The
and
gray.
There's two different grays, though, isn't there?
They seem just like accent
has-
colors, really.
And it has
They're not focal points, you know.
this is what I want us to do. This
I think-
process right here.
So I think I would go with the gray as the secondary because there's different tints of it, and those can be used in the design system to show hierarchy. And then I would say the dark blue is an accent color because it is drawing attention to key elements, almost like an accent. I don't know.
Mhm. I'm smiling. You can't see me, but this is the job, right? And we'll spend hours talking about this. All right, let's vote. Who votes gray and who votes what was the other color? Blue or green?
Green.
Right.
Gray.
Do you
Gray.
I can tell you why I think green is the brand, not the UI. Right? Because if we did this, and this is why we love the dev tools, right? This is one of my favorite things to do I had a client get like really scared, like, you deleted it. No. This is, and here, I'll do something like this. Okay, I'll come into here and once they understand that we're just making, I just forgot to use the dev tools. Just hit delete. You can do that, the same thing right here, and like, but then you can like rapid prototype right in front of them. They can see. All right, so is this still useful? Right, if we come into, got rid of this, right? And this is a good way to test it. Just take it away, right? Without getting too much into Marie Kondo or Martha Stewart, one of the things that you do is you put stuff into a box and you write a date on it, and then in 6 months you don't open that box again. You should probably throw it out. You can apply the exact same thing for UI inventory. It's like, if we took away like the print feature on this website for 6 months, think about this for a second, right? And I know I'm jumping around colors, but I want you to take that same mindset of taking something away, right? If we took away the print or we took away the green, right, for 6 months, right? Does it still function? Does it still work? Right. So what you can't do is you can't go to Coca-Cola and go, we're going to take away your red for 6 months. Right. And then put it into a box and okay. Have you all tried that trick yet? It's very useful. It doesn't work in my household though.
So how are we defining function? Because you could take away all the color and it would still function as an app, but it would not look as nice.
Oh, hit it on the head. Say it again.
So how do we define function? Because if you take away like the blue and any other color, it would still work as an app, but it wouldn't look as nice.
Exactly. So what is it? So all, not all, what the role of color, right, is to enforce the function. That's
to make the function like easier to access.
right. Like the red in an X is to show you that the X closes stuff, right? And this is why in UX1 and UX2, I make you design in grayscale. And it drives designers crazy. I say go into your settings, into your display settings, and make everything on your screen. I'll do it right now. Okay. Okay. Oh, I missed this. This is one of the times like, oh, I miss teaching. What's it called? Oh, that's invert. I miss teaching UX2 and 1, but Meg does a great job. Well, where's my grayscale? Did we take UX2 with me? No. Anyway, I'm gonna find it, but pretend this is grayscale. Can we use our imagination to pretend this is grayscale? I do this like design in gray, completely without any color, and your app should still function, and the color comes in and accents that. All right, check. Right, that's a lot of talking for one single color. This is what I want going through your brain. Okay. All right, so all that talking. What's our secondary color?
I heard a lot of grays earlier.
All right. Let's pick that gray. All right, the thing about gray with UI, now we're talking about UI design, there's a lot of grays, right? This is why there's even a gradient gray here. Let's take this. Everyone good with that gray? Okay, all right, gray is used a lot in UI design. All right, so I'm gonna copy that and inside of Figma, be fast. We gotta be faster here. Okay. And if you know any Figma tips and tricks, let me know, please. All right, can we get a tertiary and a quaternary color? I'm trying to sound fancy here, but third and fourth. Tertiary.
Would it be blue now? Finally?
Yeah, finally blue. Yeah. And if it wasn't, oh, am I doing this right? Return. No. I'm fine to like.
Stroke fill.
I did a stroke fill. Oh, thank you. That's stroke fill. All right, it's got to be a faster one. Oh, there's a Figma plugin. I think there's lots of plugins that basically like upload your screenshot and don't use those. By the way, y'all, there are lots and lots of like automated create your own style guide. Like, all right, why am I groaning here? Because you're not designing anymore. Like you're just uploading a screenshot and a color picks by like. Have these tools speed up your workflow, but don't let them do the designing for you. And I'm very opposed to that. Just upload a screenshot and we'll make a palette for you. Like that's not what we're doing here. Good. Some of you are like, I didn't know that existed. Like maybe not. All right. Okay. All right. So the point I'm trying to make here, without belaboring too long, is the use of grays. And what you want to do, if we take a look at this section right here, look at there's one gray, two gray, the background. There's 4 grays there in that area alone. This is why we just can't say gray. This is why we're taking a design inventory audit. So how do you make a label here on Figma? Is it just T? All right. Now, do we spell gray with an A or an E?
E.
I don't know. I would fail that question.
It's an A in America and E in English.
All right. So we're going to end, and you all are going to figure out the grays yourself, because right there, right, is 4 different grays. Watch me go over this. That's a different, is that a, yeah, no, it's the same gray. Okay, plus the gray on the border. Haha. Okay, and this is that consistency that we're trying to establish. All right, and that was just on color. We are running behind here. All right, the next one, okay, is let's go ahead and establish type. Some people like to start with type. Some people like to start with color. I like to start with color because it's fastest and it's easiest. Okay, so the client had made mention about staying with the web and the Android platform, if I remember correctly. Yes? Okay. All right. So Android uses two different Robotos. No, 2 different Robotos. Let's see here. There's Roboto and there's the other one. I should know this off the top of my head, but I don't. There's one for apps and there's one for websites, and I can't get the 2 past me. Oh, I'm on record now. No. I want the big picture design stuff. There are typography. Let's see here. But before I look into this, let's see if I can nerd out for a second. Roboto is for websites, and the other one, I forgot its name, is for apps. And let's see if I'm right. Roboto is, yeah. And what is the other one? They have another one for apps. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at Roboto real fast. Do we want this to be our common, our baseline UI font? And if you don't know, then just say, yeah, this is a good place to start. I think it is just, did they get rid of the other one? Okay, so this is Google's living document. Right. And this is why we see Roboto all over the place. Anybody know Apple's UI font? There's a city in California that it's named after. It's called San Francisco. All right, so why do we need to know these? Because if you're gonna go do a large scale iOS app and if you're gonna go do a large scale Android app, right? One of the things you don't get to do is like, hey, you know what? I'm tired of looking at this font. I'm gonna go ahead and install my own fonts. Right? No, it's already part of the HIG, the Human Interface Guidelines, right? HIG. Okay, so be aware, right, of all the existing platforms and their fonts already. Now, knowing that, do you think Roboto is being used on this design right here?
No.
Yeah, let's find out. Right, and what do we get? We get Montserrat and Verdana. Okay, so UI fonts are a lot of the times they're decided for you. Sorry, designers. You wanted to have your own UI font, you're gonna have to make your own applications. If it's already on a large platform. And that's because a lot of work has gone into figuring this out. Now, what you can do is you can keep the same type for the system-wide things, and then you can pick your own font for the app specific things. Yeah. And so that's how you can still have it. Now, why would you want that? Well, for the system-wide things that you're going to see across all the different apps, okay, you're going to want it to be consistent. Okay? Like navigation, you want that look and feel to be consistent, and that's where it's okay that you have mixed fonts. Good there. Okay, so system-wide, use the system font. Not system-wide, that's where you get to pick it. And this is where Google is really good. This is where I encourage you to use Google. First off, best UI fonts. What year is this? Oh, it's pouring down rain right now. Best UI fonts. What year is this? 2020? Yeah. Look, there you go. Now, if you just pick from now and then your job as a designer and go, yeah, I don't like these ones, or oh, I never heard of that one, and be really, really good for my design. I still want you to design. What's good about Google? It will find you these, okay, but you're still going to need to do your job, right, and figuring out like which one is going to work for your application. Check. All right, Helvetica Neue, Helvetica Neue, say however you like. Okay, was in use for a very, very long time. Apple actually even, I would actually give the long-winded lecture about this, but let's see if I can still do it. Basically, Apple had a font that was just way too small and illegible, and instead of saying click here, it said dick here, because that's what it looked like. And I'm trying to find this. I have a screenshot of it somewhere, but yes, I just said that in front of my daughter, so sorry, hon.
It's okay. I won't tell Mom.
Did you hear her? Yeah.
That was funny.
Okay.
You're not raising snitches, that's for sure.
Yeah. So it's somewhere. There's a screenshot. I have a screenshot of it somewhere. All right, good. So am I saying use Roboto? No, I'm saying, do you know the system font for the platform that you're going to be building this on? Yes, Roboto. Okay, there is that. We're moving along quickly. There's our typography. All right, so to do that, and the good thing is I'm sure Figma, I'm positive Figma already has Roboto. Does Figma default to Roboto? Yes, it does. All right, this is one of my gripes of Figma. Okay, you might think this is awesome. I think this bugs the crud out of me, right? Because I can't see what any of these are.
Yeah, that annoys me too.
All right, so designers, help me. How do we get around this? Because, right, Ariel, am I going to have to Google for every single one of these?
That's what I've done. I don't know if there's a way that I am not, that I'm not sure of.
I normally go to Google Font and type in whatever it is I'm trying to spell, and then see it on there, and then pick it in Figma.
Yeah, that's what I do too.
All right.
There could be a plugin for it. Like Figma has those plugins that you can download. There could be one for the fonts.
All right, so this is where I'm deferring to y'all. So all those were 3 really good tips. Okay, so if you want to experiment with if a different font, I would follow those fonts. Good. Okay. What's permanent marker? Ooh, run with that. Yes, use permanent marker. All right. Thanks everybody for the tips there. All right, next we're going to take a look at spacing and sizing. A part of typography is establishing your typographic rhythm. So if you've taken typography, you know how to do this. So let's go ahead and I like doing this on paper, but this is gonna. All right, so normally what we would do here is we would just find our H1 or our H2, and like a rhythm would be all set for us right there, right? All the hot, but that's why that's what a normal design system would show you, right? Big, medium, and small, and all the typographic sizes in between. But we of course don't have that right here. That's why we're redesigning this. So much so there is an element called white space to create that white space there. So if I come into here and actually search for an H1, so And there's our first problem is we don't have an H1. All right, so we can't defer back to this design for our typographic ribbon. Like we're just not going to get it. So a good place to start, okay, when you don't have it, is just go ahead. Oh, I got to get out of permanent marker. Oh, is just go heading 1. Okay, not in all caps, by the way. All permanent marker is in all caps. Okay. Roboto. Heads up, Google has been using Android has been using Roboto for a very long time, and they're probably going to stick with it. They had another one, and the name is escaping me. Someone Google for it. Find out. How do I skip around to RO here? Can I just type RO?
You can collapse the menu and then just type in Roboto to Figma.
Oh, thank you. All right, there's the heading 1, okay, but we don't know the size, of course, and so we can come in here, all right, so we can't find an H1, but we can sure as heck find an H2, okay. And why this makes this easier, okay, you can of course just visually inspect this. So there's our H2, and we have a font size of 20 pixels. And of course, we wanted to convert that to rems and ems. All right, so what I'm coming in here is, what I'm trying to do right now is just find a baseline, like somewhere, like give me a starting point, okay? And so heading 2, and then I can change all of that later. All right, so is that the size right there? 20? Did I do that right? Yeah. Oh, I should probably make this a separate component. Right, and this is going to, of course, establish what other ones? Heading 2 and heading 3, right? Okay, all right. So if we're going to keep with, we keep this, right? So let's say the client came back and said, you cannot change any of the typographic size, spacing and sizing whatsoever. Okay, like, okay, fine, I'm starting here, right? This would be my baseline for right now. 20 is kind of weird, by the way, but all right, so what will 1 be then? It has to be at least 20 or bigger, correct? So give me something bigger, designers. Something bigger than 20.
30.
30, okay? Right, Colin, you're literally pulling numbers out of thin air, right? Yes, yes, I am. Dude, that's what the point I'm trying to demonstrate here is okay, where did 20 come from? Good. That's where that's when we start doing our job. It's like, all right, that's this. We can't just keep guessing at this. We got to establish some baseline. All right, and this one, of course, is, without belaboring the point, has to be smaller than 20, and then you can do 3 and 4 on your own. And this is how you're going to get started on that. Okay, so 20 to 30, multiples of 10. No, that could work. 10. So now I'm just running through this in my head. All right, good. There is on type. Oh, while we're in here, we can go ahead and adjust. Where do I adjust the spacing? Right here. Okay, so we can adjust line height and line spacing. All while we're in. Wow, it's 210 already. So I'm not going to spend any more time into this. Right? You drop in a paragraph. You can drop in a list item. Okay. Basically, what you should be doing here is taking a look at. Oh, here's a good one. Here's one that we should address before we go anywhere, right? Is the links itself, right? So links would be part of system, right? Because you're going through the system. In this case, the app would be the system. Okay, and if we take a look at this link, wow. Look at what it's set to. Y'all see that? That is shocking. Right? And we wouldn't know all this without the my beloved dev tools. Like, I don't even know. Someone asked me, like, $1 billion, what size is XMall set to? I was like, I have no idea. Right? So that would be a good place to start a recommendation. It's like, hey, let's not use these named values. Let's actually use actual numbers. So, all right, link size, X small. So I don't know what X small is. Oh, wow, it's 11.5. Check that out. Oh, that is so, yeah, look, it's about 11 pixels, 10, 11 pixels for X small. Okay. So why am I telling you this, Colin? Why are we telling you this? Because you need to establish your links, okay? Especially if this is going to be an application. Okay? This is going to be part of the system-wide UI, right? The system is like the app in this case. Check, all right? When you get applied in this, you can take a look at the table heading, okay? So this would be part of this. This would be table heading, right? For lack of time, we're not going to go through this. Table heading, table data. Okay, table heading. Is it header or heading? Oops. All right. Before we move on, anybody have any other typographic element that they would like to discuss? Heading, table data. Okay. So going back into why design systems exist, this is not information that we want to. This is not what we want to be figuring out as we're designing. Right, there's that compartmentalization again. Like when we're designing, these are the pieces we want to use, and when we use these pieces and we don't like the way they look or it's broken, oh, can y'all make that change? I think I made the link. Right? Yeah, you can edit. Go start making some changes. Someone picks it. This is where Figma is supposed to shine, by the way. Rhiannon, who's that? Go somebody. Yeah, go ahead, Rhiannon. Make a change to that. Ben, ooh, look at Figma go. Yay! All right. All right, there's nothing else while your classmates make a change to that. Let's move on. All right, so we just took care of spacing and sizing. All right. Okay, so there's not a lot of imagery on this application except inside of the header. And so a good place to start is, can we make does any images need to change? No, okay. Right, because this is all in part of the header. But the more I look at this right here, I do think it can be different sizes. Okay. So, all right. So this would be a suggestion I would recommend here. All right, y'all make that change. Go team, go. All right, we're gonna make an images frame or artboard. Does anybody else bother that it's a frame and not an artboard? Is it just me nitpicking?
Colin, I have a quick question.
Sure. Who's this?
How do we get to the Figma? How do we get there that we're looking at right now?
Well, I put a link on the card, but let me drop a link into the chat real fast. So
okay.
And Nato. Thank you, Chance. Nato. That's what it was. Roboto and Nato. All right. So we don't have a lot of images on. I'm sorry, I'm skipping around here. Okay. Except for these two. And what I'm showing you right here is just a small thing that we can do is say, let's make a reminder to ask the client for these native files. I think we can fix these, right? Because you can see here, it's, even though we're basically gonna look at this on desktop size, this is kind of pixelated, don't you think? And then the gray on the white. And so I think we can fix these images. So I will make a note I think we can clean this up too. Okay. There's also something I wanna do in this. Okay, and let's get your feedback on here is I don't think we need that vertical separator on there. Thoughts?
I like it.
You like the vertical separator?
I don't think it's necessary.
I like it.
All right, so I dropped it into there. And a good way to do this is to have this discussion. So let's pretend that we're trying to convince the client one way or the other. Okay. I would do this and then draw one in without the vertical separator, right? And then make your case for both. Yeah. And again, I'm doing this because this is kind of just like organizing any space, right? At first, you're like, there's too many boxes around here. I don't have anywhere to walk. Like nothing is organized just yet. Yes, that's kind of the process. Okay, but along the way, you can be figuring out like what questions to ask, right? So I'm always making a pile. All right. Good. My spouse isn't in the room, right? I'm constantly making her piles. Like, what's this pile for? What's that pile for? Right. And this is kind of what we're doing. We're making these little piles, and we're asking the client, like, what is the intent of these piles? And can we make this pile look better? Does this pile need to exist? Good. All right. No, literally, I'm not kidding. Like, my way I view every UI audit is just like cleaning a house. Right? You're just cleaning house, and it's how I explain it to my client. And maybe you have a better metaphor. Anybody else got a better metaphor than house cleaning? I would love to hear it, but it's the one I use.
Taking out the trash.
Taking out the trash. Ooh, I like it, but it kind of assumes that there's trash, Randy. That's probably the... If everybody is in agreement, that's the problem, right, Randy? Not everybody agrees that what trash is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. Yo, I have a box of 1931 Reader's Digest in my house. I have the entire... So if you want, you know, the 1931 Reader's Digest, I have the entire box in my house somewhere if you want.
Just that year?
Just that year, yes. So Randy, now another person's trash is another person's treasure. All right.
True.
So next, we're going to go ahead and take a look at all these icon designs. All right. So there's one that I just took a screenshot of, the home button that's right there. Normally, right, this would be nice if there was an existing design system like what is it, Font Awesome. This is the one that Eastern uses. Okay, this can become an entire class all by itself, right? When we just start taking a look at the icons, this is part of your pattern library, right? The pattern library being the things that you're going to reuse over and over again. And so when people ask me, you know, what's the difference between a design system, a style guide, and a pattern library, is a style guide and a pattern library are like inside of a design system. Design system is more holistic. It's everything. Okay, and this pattern library might be inside of this. So on a more recent design, right, you would basically be using with an existing pattern library, but one doesn't exist here. So now we're going to have to create one from scratch. And so over in another artboard, I'm going to keep saying artboard until they come after me. Come after me, Figma. All right, this is going to be our iconography. I've always liked that word. I was talking about your I'm looking at my spouse right now. I'm telling her about the 1931 Reader's Digest in our basement. She's giving me this look like, what? Why doesn't everybody have a 1931 Reader's Digest in their basement?
I don't anymore.
Mm-hmm. Did we donate it? We donated it. It's gone. See, so much stuff I don't even know. All right, there is that icon. What other icons? There's the home icon. Where are other icons? Print. What else? I'm looking at one. Yell it out, and we can move on to the next component.
The drop-down arrow.
The drop-down arrow. There is another one. A lot more. Oh, that was the thing about. Yeah. there's this drop down arrow and there's this one, correct?
Mhm.
This is system, this is custom, right? So system is black, right? This one is made by the website. This is one, like, if we were to open this up in another browser, this would look a little bit differently. Okay, just like how buttons are a little bit different across. But this would be the app, right? And so what we need to say is, can we standardize this or get rid of this? And this is what I would say. Like, well, these need to be standardized because one is white on blue with a white border, and the other one is your standard one, right? And this one is also customized. And yeah, so right here we have your collapse expand arrows, and there's 3 different ones, and that would be a good place to start. Okay. And then this is the stock icon for print. Okay. So the next good place to start would be use an existing icon library. I keep referencing Icon Monster because it's not a bad place to start. Right? Just as long as we're consistent in terms of style. Font Awesome, not a bad place to start as long as we're consistent. Heck, for this, I would even say, let's just go ahead and use Font Awesome, right? And let's see what the print icon was. Let's argue real fast. What would be more appropriate? Like the rounded kind of casual, right? Font Awesome, right? Or the more stylized and square Icon Monster. Go designers, fight, 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 fight.
Casual.
Would the casual work better for silverback letter? I'm thinking casual too. Right. Let's see here what does the chat room say. Chat room says square. Ooh.
Square. I say square as well.
All right. All right. Why am I bringing this up? Because you're going to have to make that argument and be consistent, right? But regardless, we either go full on, classic Windows icons, right? This is the classic Windows icon. Right? We either go all on board with that, including the arrows, right? Or we introduce something new altogether. So there's your iconography. And all I can put inside of here is refer to lecture. All right, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. All right. Let's go ahead now and talk about, we don't have any motion and sound on this. And the last thing I want to talk about is the idea of, so right now we're taking a look at all of the atoms. And once we're done with the atoms, okay, we can start taking a look at the more of the components and the molecules. And this is what I need from you here as I make another frame. How many people can you put onto a share, onto a project? Because Sketch would fail at this point. Like, wow, Figma, look at Figma go. Yeah, no, there's no way Sketch can, sorry, Sketch, but it's true. No way 11 people are gonna be working on this. All right, so in last class, we identified all of the different molecules and organisms that we could reuse, all right? And sometimes I feel like I'm splitting hairs with molecules and organisms, but these are basically the stuff that you're gonna be making from your atoms. Organisms, I spell organisms, right? Sure. All right, we're just gonna list them out. There's no need to rehash them. Okay. All right, remember one was the modal overlay. Okay, so we're gonna need to create something from that. And then you're gonna ask yourself, like, what components make up that modal overlay? It would be the overlay itself, so the content window. Which one had the overlay here? Yeah, ready? So when you click on something like this, it would, which one popped up our overlay for us? I forget, but we took a screenshot of it and it's on Notion. Oh, look at this. Look, there it is. They're the other icons, right? Seeing this, I kind of want to keep them. Maybe it's
Why is the arrow bigger though?
That is a good question. Why is the arrow bigger? But seeing this, maybe I find these nostalgic, but this has got to change. The pencil can't be closed plan, right? Like pencil is edit plan, not closed plan. And maybe I don't understand the definition of. There's the modal. Yay, everything's working out. Okay. All right, again, so we're gonna have to establish the overlay itself. Okay, and then the content window. What other elements that did we determine? Overlay, we had our tabs, right? We had our tabs, we had our tables, and we're almost at 2:30, and we're running over. So, and that should do it, right? We're just going to establish the larger parts, and once we get these molecules and organisms done, we can get to the layouts. And fortunately, we don't have to redo the layout on this. Why? Because we can't. Right? Why? Because we're designing with inside of this window. That's essentially our layout. We don't get to define the platform. It's web-based. That's defining our layout right now. Okay. Now, that's layout, right? Big picture, Brad Frost, like Atomic Design. Why don't I just link to this? Okay. That's don't get the noun and the verb confused. Okay, people. It's one of my pet peeves when okay. I'm talking about the noun. Okay, something. I just want this one image. There we go. Right. I'm talking about this part right here. This, the noun, like where everything sits. Okay. And sometimes we hear the verb, like, what do you mean I can't do layout? I have to, no. You can do the lowercase verb layout, right? And move stuff around. But the noun is, like, we have to use this platform, right? With this header. We can't change the section here, right? We're basically designing within this space, but we can change the verb, right? We can relay out the stuff inside here. Is everybody clear what I mean by noun and verb here when we're talking about layout? Yeah, right. I get a lot of, Colin said I can't change the layout. No, I didn't say that at all. Okay, whew. Refer back to your textbook. Refer back to lecture. All right, any questions before I before we end class?
I had a question.
Sure.
It was asked last week, but what all should be in our prototype?
What all should be in your prototype?
Yeah, like what should we have created by now?
For the example or for your portfolio?
Let's say both.
Oh, well, it can't be both because they're two different things. But for your example is whatever you like, right? It could be, like I said, black text on a white screen, right? Last week, we're just testing to make sure that we can use ProtoPie. For your portfolio, right? You're going to pick a project and say, like, which one needs more fidelity, right? Or better yet, right? Which component needs more fidelity? Okay. So what I'm not stressing with ProtoPie is, this is how big your ProtoPie app has to be. This is how many screens it needs, right? What I need you to do as a designer is to say, like, well, maybe there is something in my app that I can't fully address with Figma. That's where ProtoPie comes into play. And a good one is, like, let's say your app is adding, and let's say you're doing a to-do app, right? Though that's the classic to-do app, Yeah. All right. So you're doing a to-do app, right? How can you prototype that out? How can you prototype adding and removing, something on your to-do list? Figma is not really good at that. Figma can show you the screen after you hit the checkbox, right? And ProtoPie, like, you can actually create how that interaction would look, that sliding to the left or sliding to the right to delete and add, that's where Protopie would come into play.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Colin, so for I'm considering doing the UX2 final that we did, and putting that for my portfolio, and it's a website, and I noticed that on Protopie you can either work from a desktop or an app. Doesn't matter like what we do out of our portfolio one. Doesn't matter if it's either an app or a web, as long as we just use those effects on either one.
Randy, are you asking, does it matter if you do a mobile or a desktop project?
Yeah, yes, because mine was I did a desktop for my UX2, and that's the one I was planning on making better on the portfolio on the Protopie one. My bad.
I can't answer that question when I haven't seen these. I don't know what project these are, and I don't know what the projects are about.
But I was asking what Danielle pretty much said. So it doesn't matter if it's a desktop or an app
for your portfolio.
Yes.
No.
Okay.
Like you get to pick. I'm trying not to go long here as I pause. Which one conveys the app better? Knowing nothing about the app. So let's take this one. You're designing a to-do list app, right? Or a weather app. Let's take both of those classic examples. We used to do a weather app. We actually built one out in Web 2. We used to build one out, and we would have to build it out. And do you know why it failed, Randy?
I do not.
Why it was not very successful? Because mobile design came around, and the class was like, we don't go to a website to look at the weather anymore. We use our phones, right? And so the weather app had to change. And so without knowing anything about this app, I'm going to answer your question with a question, like which platform, right, better showcases the app? Does that help?
That helps a lot.
And so for to-do lists and a weather app, it's of course an app. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm old, and when you say app, to me, it's not mobile specific. And this is one of the other things that Apple has ruined in my life. It's like app didn't used to mean something that you put on your phone. App used to mean anything. Application. We used to also say application. So
yeah.
Does that answer your question?
That does. Thank you.
But anything else?
Would we be able to have a breakout meeting?
Yeah, but I have to stop recording. Individually or?
Yeah.
Oh, before we end class, does anybody else have any larger questions or things related to everybody?